I just got the Bangkok prototype and this thing is sexy as f***. Look at this thing. After reading about 400 comments from YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, I compiled a list of feedback and features you guys suggested. If you're wondering why my face looks like this, it's because I have a big ass cold sore. I wanted to keep my schedule of releasing videos every Sunday and Wednesday, so it has to be this way. So many pieces to the puzzle has to fall in place for these frames to work, and it stresses me out every time. Every time before a release of a new frame, I get a cold sore. I've released 4 frames and without fail, every time I've gotten a cold sore before a frame release. So instead of me doing this kung fu style lip sync the whole video and have you guys stare at me like this, I'll just do it the old style way. Now, good news and bad or not so bad news. First, good news. Nearly all the design features in the frame and components fit. Just the normal prototype issues like needing to make small tweaks to the carbon for different tolerances. So the rear shelf right now, this is a VTX plate from a Proton, but the final version, I redesigned this plate to have 20 by 20 holes, and then I'm going to put 2 holes down here for extra support of the rear shelf. A lot of people in the comments said they wanted some more support under the shelf, so I'm just going to add 2 little holes down here so you can add some standoffs or something. Then on the bottom, I've increased these holes right here to 5.75 millimeters, so now the FC screws can be added or removed without moving the arm, so the screw can go all the way through without taking this part off or the bottom plate. By doing this, the center plate can be lowered by 2 millimeters. Right now this center plate has these little raised bumps right here. It's to make room for the butter mounts, but by enabling the screws to go all the way down, I can get rid of these bumps and lower this plate, so the whole stack will drop 2 millimeters. I don't think increasing the hole size on the bottom will weaken anything, because these arms and the center plate is bolted down by a 3 millimeter aluminum plate and then a 2.5 millimeter bottom plate, and then it's got these thick ass arms over here, so it should still be rock solid. On the prototype, the front arms, they don't slide out very easily because I have the arms designed like this, where only the front screw needs to be taken out. The bottom or the back screw just needs to be loosened so the arm can just slide out. But on the prototype, it doesn't slide out very well. The reason for that is because these arms are supposed to be 4.5 millimeters, but different tolerances in the carbon, these arms are actually 4.75. So this tab right here, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see it right here. This little tab, it needs to be the same thickness as arms. So they're supposed to be 4.5, which this right here is 4.5, but since the prototype, the arms, they came 4.75, it makes the arms not slide out very much. So in the production version, I'll increase the thickness on this little part right here so the arms can easily slide out. And I'll talk about the thickness of the arms a little bit later. So currently this is the center plate. So I've redesigned the center plate to look a little bit more like this. The reason I did that was to lighten up the center plate and then make a little slot in the back for the battery cable. As you can see right here, the battery cable is kind of jammed. I don't think this will affect the strength of the plate that much because there is so much carbon fiber in this area, there won't be any flexing. I also made it just a little bit thinner to shave off some weight. And I'll talk more about the weight in a little bit. Also, with all the arms that join in the center, there's very little wobble. I just need to tighten up the tolerances on these holes right here, so the arms will be rock solid. I mean, even as is right now, it's very solid, but if I just make this hole right here a little, tighten up the tolerance, there'll be no slack, no movement at all. And then next, a lot of people said they would like to see more support for this top plate right here. So right here and right here, I'm gonna add 2 holes. And then the reason for that is if I add 2 holes here, you can put a little 18 millimeter standoff, and it'll mount on the bottom of this rear shelf screw and then up to the top, and then I'll give it more support. I haven't decided if I want to add the standoff right here using the existing hole using the existing hole on the butter mount or the center plate, and use an 18mm screw standoff here, or add the hole here and then have it join at the bottom of the bottom plate. That way, if I do this way, I'll be able to use a 25mm standoff, but then I'll have to add 2 extra screws, versus you going here, it's just an 18mm standoff and adding 1 extra screw. So I'll just play around with that, and then I'll decide later. Since different cameras have different tolerances and measurements, I'll probably have to move this hole for the mini cameras back by 2mm or so. Because right here I have a Foxeer Predator V3, and you can see the camera is like right at the aluminum part. Good news is that my idea of having these plates switched to use mini or micro cams work, because this is a mini cam right here, and you can see it fits perfect, and then it's got a little slot for your adjustment too. And then in here I have a micro cam. So the hole for the micro cam, I think it's pretty much good, because the lens is sitting behind the aluminum. I may move it back by like 1mm or so, just to give it a little more room in case you run into a branch or something. It has a little more protection. Now on to the not so good news. The frame shown as is with the XT60 TPU holder weighs about 145 grams. Even though I think a heavier frame flies better, I mean, look at the most popular freestyle frame ever, the Impulse RC Alien. That weighs about 145 grams. I think that's why it flies so well. But everyone wants lightweight frames these days, so I'm gonna shoot for the 135 gram range. I don't think it'll be too hard to shave that much weight off it without sacrificing too much features, or I mean without sacrificing any features or lose too much durability. That brings us to the thickness of the arms. 4.5mm or 5mm. The way that the frame is designed, I can't just switch between 5 and 4.5mm, like just swapping out easily on the same frame, because this tab right here, it needs to be the same thickness as the arms. I designed it this way to give extra strength to the front cage and overall flexibility or stiffness of the frame. Attaching the front cage to the center plate helps distribute impacts to the aluminum center plate, top plate, and bottom plate. If it's not attached to this center plate, then all the impact will be taken on the top plate and the bottom plate. I think using this 3mm aluminum center plate will greatly increase the strength by a lot, because the center plate is braced by 8 screws on the arms, so it is rock solid. Going to 5mm arms will increase the weight. I could go to 5mm thick, but then make them skinnier to offset the weight, or stay 4.5mm and make them wider. I think 4.5mm thick and 15mm wide may be enough, because the arms on the Neutron are 4.5mm thick, but only 8mm in the center, and they've been super tough. But we'll see once we start testing and crashing this thing. So let me know what you think of the frame currently and all the little tweaks that we're gonna add based on the feedback in the comments. If you want to see a full list of changes and tweaks that'll be done to the Bangkok, head over to the website and I'll list out everything that'll be changed. And also, I'll create a product page for the Bangkok. The reason for that is because these frames are so expensive to produce. I mean, just the prototypes right here, this one costs almost $200 to prototype, just for one frame. So the reason for that is because the first batch of Bangkoks that we're going to order, we're not going to be able to order a lot. So make sure you sign up to be notified when pre-orders start if you want to be one of the first ones to own this frame, because first batch is going to be very limited. It's time to pick a winner. Thanks to everyone who left comments and feedback on this video. It really helps when you get different perspectives on these kind of things. So I'll just use a YouTube random comment picker to choose a winner. So I'm just going to enter in the URL of the Bangkok video, load comments. Looks like it's loading 373 comments, and then I'll just randomly pick a winner from the comments. It looks like Sago is the winner. So reach out to me or I'll reach out to you and then I'll figure out how to get this frame to you. So if you like my frames, just make sure you subscribe to our channel because in the next week or so, I'm going to be talking about 2 other frames that I've been working on. See you the next one.